And the script says, we'll read this later on when we get into the script, 3 times in the year, the men, do we have any men now? All right. 3 times in the year, the men are to come to worship God together and to bring their families, but in particular, the men are to come. On Wednesday night, we talked about Samuel being born, and his mother, Hannah, going to the temple and praying. But then when it came, once she had the baby, she didn't come back up the next year. She was weaning that baby. She was taking care of him. She was taking care of him, right? And while her husband made his journey, pilgrim to Jerusalem. We don't have the capability, wherewithal, to make it to our land, Jerusalem, but we do have the ability for us all to come together. He still said for us to call a solemn assembly for the High Shabbat. And those are the days, out of all the days during the course of the year, these three major feast days are the days that we're to bring an offering to God. So, according to how that fits in your mindset, that we should be willing to do. He also said, for this particular feast day, the Day of Atonement, to afflict yourself. What does that mean? Anybody know what that means?
Look inside yourself.
Look inside yourself.
Deal with yourself. Change yourself.
Consecrate yourself. I like that. Deny yourself. Loosen all the bands of wickedness within you. In the midst of this week, we're going up into it. We start on Tuesday night. So Tuesday night we're calling for a fast, right? So we'll be fasting, of course, from Tuesday night until Wednesday night, right? According to what you're capable of fasting. So if you have certain dietary restrictions that are saying you have to eat a certain something, then you have to eat something, right? I will be personally doing a water fast. I will try to sip on water during the course of the day. That's not to be dehydrated, but there's nothing else. So we're shutting down internet. We're shutting down Facebook, YouTube. What's the other ones that you guys look at all the time? Right? Yeah, right? Shut it down for that day, right? This is a day strictly for Yah. Strictly for Yah. No entertainment. No. And if that bothers you, then good, because that's what you're supposed to be afflicting. That's your affliction right there. You go, I got something else. Like, yes. Yes. That's the problem right there. If you got something that's bothering you so bad, and they're like, you mean I can't? Yes, you can. Right? For Yah. Because if you don't do that, back in the day, they kicked you out of the camp. Right? You were just kicked out. You were like, you got to go. Right? We're not with you every day, all day. So I don't know what you're going to do during the course of the day. And you may find yourself by happenstance, coincidence, or whatever, Satan's going to throw all kinds of stuff at you. You may find yourself picking up something and putting it in your mouth and didn't realize it. Oh, I'm not supposed to be eating that today. You spit it out, you got to forget it, and you keep it going. You don't say, well, I'm going to, we'll just have a steak dinner. Keep it going, because this is imperative. And it's so in line just a few days, we go into Sukkot. And you don't want to come into Sukkot with sin in the camp. So the feast day to Yah, it's dedicated to Yah. A party with Yah. Nobody want to come in party and you just did some dirt last night. Right? So you need to make sure you have this, as much as lies within you, that you've cleaned yourself up. So when we come together with no sin in the camp, and we party. We have a good time. We worship Yah for 8 days? 8 days, 7 days, 7 days plus 1, right? We have a high feast day at the beginning. We come together and we celebrate. We set up our tents, right? And we Sukkot. We keep a holy visual with Yah for a week. And then I say holy visual is because in this episode, in this experience, right? We may be fishing. We may be just walking a path. But it's all to the glory of Yah. So every little thing we do, we're doing it in His presence. We're doing it like, yes, He's with us all the time because He says He'll never leave you nor forsake you. Where 2 or more are gathered in His name, He said He'd be in the midst. Right? But this is a special time. This is a special time. I talked about this Wednesday. A time of looking, expecting the unexpected. Expecting a miracle. Expecting something to get been on your heart. You've been trying to break this thing for a year, 2 years. It's just been, but it keeps coming back. Can't seem to break this one particular thing, right? This is that week. And we with Yah, and you walk in one way, you walk out different. Enough of this going to church on Sunday, going in, hearing a good preacher, walking out, and saying what a great word he did, and you go back into your sin. And you're not Christians, we Hebrews, Israelites. We walk what we talk, right? And if we don't walk what we talk, one of us needs to be pointing the finger at the other person saying, well, he ain't living right. If we don't live right, you get kicked out of the camp, right? I've seen too many times with Christianity where somebody was just doing wrong. All wrong. Wrong. He put the wrong end of the toothbrush in his mouth. He just doing everything wrong, right? And everybody was like, oh, well, case in point, she loves God. Really? The same person that I just referenced, she loves God, is now a he. Because they allowed sin in the camp. So, from you see them progress. It should be progressively, sanctification should be getting closer and closer to God. This is one of those moments where you just break the yoke. I'm all in this thing this week, all right? And that doesn't mean every day we're going to sit there like the monks. That is so full of it, right? Yeah. Where's that thing? Doing all kind of crazy stuff. No, Yah says when you go out, when you come in, when you're sitting, when you're standing, teach your children. Because that's what's going to make a difference. It's going to make a difference when we go out on a fishing venture. It's going to make a difference when we just sit at a table and eat together. It's going to make a difference when we have to sleep in the camps at night. So anyway, Day of Atonement is coming Wednesday. Now, for the Day of Atonement, we will be meeting on Wednesday night, 8th and Chestnut. We'll be in the back room, and we'll have a gathering. We'll come together at that particular time. We'll be there to break fast. So we'll be fasting And then when we walk out, we'll be able to go back to our normal lives.
That's the difference. Yeah, I thought it was Wednesday.
Yeah, the schedule that you gave us is
Oh.
Wednesday.
That would be the start of the fast.
Oh, I got the wrong day. It's Wednesday. Oh, all right. So we won't be able to that.
Wednesday night. Yep.
I said the wrong day though, didn't I? Yeah, it's Wednesday night. Thursday. Oh, my bad. Reverse that and fix that. All right, so Wednesday night. All right, so we'll be going into that. So, anybody have any questions real quick before we go?
I do.
Yes.
They, that, we were trying to study last night, we were trying to figure it out, so on the calendar down before it, on the regular calendar, it is Wednesday, right? So when we were backing it up, when he was doing the Bible study last night, he seems to think, based on his count of the calendar, that it really, based on the word, should be Monday night, Tuesday night, what do you, we couldn't figure out, which, that's why we was texting, like,
Yeah.
which is the right one, we couldn't.
So, you're not the first person to ask this question, and there's a lot of people like, should it be, was the last feast on Sunday, was it on Monday? We're following, a few other elders and mores, they all come up with the same answer of it being on Wednesday night, and we're not making any changes to any of our, what we have. If we figure it out, if we sit in script and say, and we figure out that we wrong, then we fix it next year. Because right now, we got too many people out there that everybody got different night. Somebody, yes,
I would say that your calendar has, predetermined on your calendar that you have as, the spotting. Exactly what day it was, but you know what day it was, that was the first day of the month. And so these feast days are falling on the correct day according to what we already had on plan. So you can't go by your calendar at home.
so listen, this is really good that you guys want to talk about that. We'll talk about this, you guys can talk about this afterwards. Sundown Wednesday night, we start our fast. Sundown, Thursday, it's over. We come into Sukkot. Friday, Saturday, we have, Shabbat. Sunday, Saturday night comes in, I think it's Saturday night, that's Saturday night. We go into, the high feast night, Sunday night. I have it written down, I will send it out to everybody, anyone that doesn't have it.
I'm sorry. They just can't hear on here.
No, that's fine. Okay, so, and if anyone has, if we can, we'll do our repast at my house. So you guys can follow us to the house, and if anyone has any questions, we can, because our feast day consists of feasts, we can do, every Shabbat is our feast day. We party all the time. So, we're gonna get into, Shema Israel. I just talked about it earlier, right? And okay. So this is our offering time. That's our offering basket. We say Shema Israel. And most of the time when you ask the question, I'll let it go, and we'll talk about that, try to resolve that, and get an answer for it right now. I have less than an hour, so we didn't really.
Count down.
Yeah, I'm looking at my watch, and I talk a little bit sometimes.
All right.
get it in. Let's get it in. Somebody get a drum. So welcome everybody to Arca, New Jersey / Philadelphia. So excited about being here today. Excited about what's going on in our in our walk, as we see our ministry, it just starts growing and growing and growing. It's really exciting. I wake up in the morning and like, wow, look at what y'all's doing, right?
Hallelujah.
We have people missing, and we still fill the room. And that's just amazing that y'all is allowing us to be a partaker of the awakening. So it's crazy that our name is the awakening, right? That he's awakening his people, and he's given us the opportunity to give them a place to go. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So we started last week. Was it last week? We had like,
A lot happening.
yeah, a lot happened. We had 4. I'm starting to count. I'm like, we had 4 messages that we put together in 5 days, and I was like, this is crazy. Y'all just constantly we've been starting to see you guys every day now. This is getting too much. Right? So we talked about Shabbat, all 4, and we got into it, and it was like, there's so much more that we need to talk about. And I remember at the end, near the end, we were going back and forth. When does the day begin? Does it begin at night? Does it begin in the daytime? I got people texting me. When? Right? So I'm gonna give you my spin on. Oh, I thought somebody was waving me off. He was like chewing a gnat, but I was getting ready to jump out here. So my spin is when the sun goes down, I set it down. Right? That's when I believe the Shabbat began. Okay? I wake up in the morning. I'm at Friday night. If you catch me after sundown, I'm saying Shabbat Shalom. And a good number of us Hebrews believe the same thing. And there are some people that want to argue the point that it happens in the daytime when you wake up. But go ahead, argue with them. I'm not arguing. All right? I've examined the text. I've seen a lot of videos. I've listened to a lot of opinions. And from my spin, night, just like in Genesis 1, the first evening, the first day was the first day. That's how I roll. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So, once again, if anyone has any more questions on that, we'll be at my repass.
Not your
Yeah.
Ask me when I'm dead.
At the after service. I want to do my repass. Everybody was, what a nice guy he was. He was great. Pass me the pork chop. Not my repass. Hallelujah. So now the problem, the bigger problem, is not when, but how do we perform it? How do we perform this whole thing of Shabbat? Is it a burdensome? Is it supposed to be a pleasure? Just chill, lay out on the beach. Right? So we want to talk about that. And we're going to see how it doesn't really matter. I'm going to say this politely as I can. It doesn't really matter what you think. It doesn't matter what I think. What does y'all think? He's the one that created it. What do you think he thinks about it? So let's examine the text a little bit and see. I pulled out a couple chapters that I think that when we get into it, it pretty much lays out how he feels about Shabbat. So let's go to Exodus. Just because we started here the first 4 laws, let's go back there anyway. And let's read Exodus 20, 1 through 8. Are you good with that one? That has the, Here, let me give you the King James.
It's a whole different. Wanna try to change it, you wanna say? You can use my phone.
What she-
All right. There you go. Okay? Start reading. Someone go ahead. Okay.
Elohim spoke all these words, saying, I am Yahweh El-Hekah, which have brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other Elohim before me. You shall not make unto you any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heavens above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down yourself to them, nor serve them. For I, Yahweh El-Hekah, am a jealous thou, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and guard my commandments. You shall not take the name of Yahweh El-Hekah in vain, for Yahweh will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain. Remember the day of the Shabbat to keep it holy. Six days shall you labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is the Shabbat of Yahweh El-Hekah. In it you shall not do any work, you nor your son, nor your daughter, your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger that is within your gates. Keep going.
Yeah. Read down to 12.
For in 6 days Yahweh made the heavens and the earth and the sea and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yahweh blessed the seventh day of Shabbat and hallowed it.
Out of all the days that he made, the first day, the second day, the third day, the fourth day, the fifth day, when he got to the sixth day, he gave it he named it. What's really crazy when we read this, before we go any further, what's really crazy is that he gave it a name, and we call it Saturday. Why do we do that? I have the answer. I have the answer. I raised my hand, I'm answering my question. Why do we call him Jesus?
Answer your question with a question.
Isn't that his
Yes,
name?
that's the answer.
Isn't that his name?
That's,
No.
so is Saturday. The day. Is right? So that should make you start questioning, right? Wait till we get get down to thou shalt not lie. Because thou shalt not lie may last a month. What is his name? What is the name of our king? What is the name of our king? What is the name of our king? Yahusha. Right? Shout it out. Because in the name of Yah, that thou shalt be saved. That's what the script says. It's at the name of Yah. Not J. Anything. He calls them by his name. He names this particular day. So the first thing about how he feels about Shabbat is that he gave it a personal name. Anybody ever been in love? And ever had a girlfriend or love? Fell so much in love that you married her? Right? Guess what you did to that person that no one else can seem to do? You gave her a name, and she loves that name. I don't even know what it is. Kooky, Mushy, something stupid, right? Everybody else be like, don't you call me that, right? But you allow your spouse, the one that you love, to give you a special name for you. And you two be calling each other your little names. You got your little nicknames, right? And you be running with that nickname. Somebody else call you, whoa. You can't be calling her that because you done took it personal. Because that's your personal name. He took this day and he made it so personal. He said, this is the day. And listen to this. Figure this one out. Really this bad, man. Figure this one out. He says in this day, he rested and revived. How does a God that has all strength, all power, almighty, say that he revived himself? What was he, out of energy? He ran out of gas? He had to take a break? You guys ever see that?
Somebody at work asked me this.
Yeah,
I told him that he didn't need to, but he loved that day. He wanted to look at his fruits.
To add to that, I think like if we're made in his image, it's a part of the experience of life.
Yeah.
Rest. It's not something that is always even necessary, but we enjoy it. And he loves those things. He wants us to enjoy that also.
Perfect, because this day is made for us. Some days you don't feel tired. When I remember when I used to run, and we would have, when I ran, my coach would say, okay, take a break. And I'm like, I'm not tired yet. Because I had all this energy. I just love running, and it was like, he said, take a break. There's times when you need to take a break and you don't even feel like you need to take a break. And then there's times when you need to take the break and you don't take the break because you feel like, I just got too much to do. We want to talk about that a little bit. About how Yah is automatically programming it in us to take a day off, a day of recuperation, a day to revive. He demonstrated it. He never does something without first showing us how to do it, right? He demonstrated it for us. The Almighty said, I got to chill for a day. He tells us to, and we do everything but. Stop. Okay. Let's move on.
Can I say something
Yes.
interesting really quick about the name part? Is that in most other languages around the world, it directly translates. So like in Spanish, so if you're reading, in Spanish, seventh day is the same thing as Sabbath. Like, so you know how some Christians try to say, oh, well, the Sabbath could be any day, right? Because it doesn't mean, because Sabbath in English doesn't directly like translate, we don't call it Saturday Sabbath.
Right.
But in any other language, like in Spanish, sábado, everyone knows Saturday as, and sábado means Saturday.
God, there you go.
So, like,
What does it say in French?
I was reading somewhere that that's
Yeah.
the case actually in most languages around the world.
Yeah.
That's the actual name that everyone commonly knows for that day.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. English is one of the few that has switched.
English is the one language, and it's everywhere now, right? It's the bastard language of all languages because it takes our words and it just twists all of our names. All of our names. read through the, I just, what is your name, young lady? Atira. I just handed a book to Atira, a seeker, and I was like, I don't know if you're accustomed to this. And I got it back and gave her King James. And the problem was, all the titles are different. Because they haven't been translated or mistranslated or they just throw another word in there. It's not even a name. It's not even a translation. It's just another word. Which is what Jesus is, just another word. It's not the Father's name. There's no of that way that you can find God in Jesus. But didn't he say, I'm coming in my Father's name?
Yeah.
So figure that out. Is there a J in there, a O, or a D? He said he's from God, Jesus, or God, Jesus. Okay, Elohim. Keep figuring it out. And you're going to run down this dead-end road. You'll never have the answer. Exodus 31:12 through 18. Shemot. They call it Exodus. Okay, I know about Exodus is movement of
Can you
the
repeat that,
people.
please? Can you repeat where we're at?
12:18. Oh, did I say 12? No, I said 31. 31:12. 31:12. And because of time, we're going through the, starting at the beginning and reading the whole verse. Right. Ready?
Yeah.
Go. And Yahweh spoke.
And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying, Speak also unto the children of Yisra'el, saying, Truly, my Shabbat you shall guard, for it is a sign between me and you through your generations, that you may know that I am Yahweh, Mikodishken.
Here, that was. I was looking at it. You're not going to get that one out.
You shall guard, I'm trying, you shall guard the Shabbat, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defiles it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever does any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people.
Here we go.
6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Shabbat of rest, holy to Yahweh. Whosoever does any work in the Shabbat, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Yisra'el shall guard the Shabbat, to do the Shabbat throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Yisra'el forever. For in 6 days Yahweh made the heavens and the earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. And he gave unto Moshe, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 sapphires of testimony, sapphire stones written with the finger of Elohim.
Okay, we talked about that Wednesday, that he wrote with his finger on the stone twice. He broke the stone. Moses broke the stone and came back up to him, and he wrote it again. He said, cut me out 2 more tablets, and let me do it all over again. These stubborn Hebrews. Right? Number 2, he's so emotionally involved that he says, if you're not emotionally involved, kill him. He literally tells the people, if you don't worship on Shabbat and you're part of the assembly, kill him, destroy him. But prior to that, what was the one word? It was repeated. in this text?
God,
Yes. Read it again.
speak also unto the children of Yisra'el, saying, truly, my Shabbat, you shall guard, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I am Yahuwah Mekodesh. You shall guard the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. For everyone that defiles it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever does any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people.
Guard it. Who let their guard down?
Church.
Who let, you said church, who let the guard down?
We did.
All of them. Floyd Mayweather is probably one of the greatest fighters, pound for pound, of all time. One of. I said probably one of. Didn't I say probably one of?
Gotta put that disclaimer in there.
Right.
Disclaimer.
Didn't I say probably one of?
I was emphasizing surely, truly,
But
Yeah.
one of.
One
We're
of,
talking about,
yeah.
since we're talking about guarding, he is one of the technically
Best
best
guard.
guarders, and that's what he does. He guards.
Yeah,
That's
he
true.
guards, I mean,
I'll give you that.
you can't hit the boy. He's moving, he's shuffling, he's doing everything. You can't hit him. I thought for sure Pacquiao was going to take him down. Sorry, you can't. What guys say? Can't touch this, right? He said in one of his interviews about his defense that's one of the best offenses is his defense.
Yeah, that's true.
And we lowered the guard. He's warned us and said this over and over again. Protect it, guard it, keep it. We let the guard down. So I want to show you more of how he feels about letting the guard down. We're going to read through this text, Ezekiel. And it's not Ezekiel, it's Yechezk'el.
Can I just throw something out
Yes.
in there? If
Yeah.
that verse where it says whoever does any work on it, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. That stuck out to me, just thinking about how when we start keeping the Sabbath, we really do feel a separation from everybody else. And it's more than just, oh, I'm keeping the Sabbath, like it's a spiritual separation. That's that set apartness.
Yeah. I'll elaborate on that a little bit. You start, the more you keep the Shabbat, the more you are in tune with Yah, you start looking at other people that don't keep the Shabbat, and you start realizing, I don't know what God you serve, but it's not the Creator. I know that's touchy, isn't it? Because everybody thinks that they go to church and they serve God. But if he's the same one that said, just your murmuring was enough for me to kill people. Just your murmuring, come on. You can't, complaining. Now you're complaining because you ain't got enough meat. You don't have enough this. You don't have, just, that was enough for him to send plagues. And these people were keeping the Shabbat. So when you don't keep the Shabbat, when you pervert it, or when you pollute it,
That's a hard teaching, Elder.
yeah, it's not. This is not.
Once you're in it for a while, it's a hard teaching.
That's what I'm
Yes.
saying. Can I just say something real quick on that?
Yes.
On that. And I think the part that's why we here and why we have such a struggle keeping the Shabbat is that from our ancestors' disobedience, we were placed in slavery, which made us, we didn't have a choice but to change from the keeping the Shabbat to Sunday because we had to do it by force. Because from the Roman Catholic Church, they purposely changed. But looking to our ancestors, like the Ethiopians, for instance, and the Ethiopian Israelites, they kept the Shabbat to this very day. They never changed it, and they never allowed the Roman Catholic Church to come in and change it. So they were never conquered. So we're at a place now where we're remembering who we are, and we're coming back to keeping the Shabbat and understanding the importance of it. And so now, the Most High has set us apart as leaders to now guard it, and to now get those who are still unaware of the importance of Shabbat and get them out of the tradition that they're in and the emotional attachment that they have to Sunday to come back to the Shabbat as the way it should have been originally.
Preach, bro, preach.
So,
You know, and it's not, as a leader, can I say this? I love the Christian people in church. I love you guys to death. Well, not my death, because I'm not dying. But it's not you, but it's the structure. What do you call it? The institution.
yes.
Because you've been indoctrinated in something that you believe to be right. I love me Jesus. I love Jesus. It was like, okay, but if you love him, if you really love him, even if you think that it's okay to call him that, it's not okay to live the way you're living, because it says if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. Duh. If you love me, you'll keep my commandments. I don't know how else can I say that. To make you understand that he's talking about the commandments when he says commandments.
But that's attached to his
If you,
name. That's attached to his name.
yeah,
Because if they took a second, and I was trying to refrain from having a spirited discussion with somebody on this morning, Church of Israel and Jesus or something like that. And I'm like, the name is, when you transliterate names, you're taking away from scripture. Because all of the names, like, they couldn't put white Jesus in the church if they explained to you what Adam means. All the way down to the Messiah. So the name of Yah, hallelujah, the Messiah's name brings the people back to reverence to the Father.
start reading for me. Sorry.
Where we at?
Yechezk'el 20.
Okay. Start at 1. And it came to pass in the 7th year, in the 5th month, the 10th day of the month, that certain of the elders of Yisra'el came to inquire of Yahuwah and sat before me. Then came the word of Yahuwah unto me, saying, Son of Adam, speak unto the elders of Yisra'el, and say unto them, Thus says Adonai Yahuwah, Are you come to inquire of me? As I live, says Adonai Yahuwah, I will not be inquired of by you. Will you judge them, son of Adam? Will you judge them? Cause them to know the abominations of their fathers, and say unto them, Thus says Adonai Yahuwah, in the day when I chose Yisra'el and lifted up my hand unto the seat of the house of Yaakov, and made myself known unto them in the land of Mitzrayim, when I lifted up my hand unto them, saying, I am Yahuwah Yechezk'el. In that day that I lifted up my hand unto them to bring them forth of the land of Mitzrayim into the land that I espied for them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands. Then said I unto them, Cast ye away every man the abomination of his eyes, and defile not yourselves with the idols of Mitzrayim. I am Yahuwah Yechezk'el. But they rebelled against me, and would not hearken unto me. They did not every man cast away the abominations of their eyes, neither did they forsake the idols of Mitzrayim. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them, to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the land of Mitzrayim. But I wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen among whom they were, in whose sight I made myself known unto them, in bringing them forth out of the land of Mitzrayim. Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Mitzrayim, and brought them into the wilderness. And I gave them my statutes, and showed them my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them.
What verse are you?
I'm sorry. Keep going.
What verse are you?
12.
12, perfect. Stay there for a minute.
Okay.
So, the elders came to Ezekiel to confront him, to ask him about what's going on, right? So we're seeing this. Nothing's mentioned about Sabbath yet, but it did say these people have started perverting. Your generations have perverted your walk, and somebody needs to cry loud and spare not, and tell people of the perversion. Someone asked me, what's in my cups? It's hot tea. So you'll see me drinking my hot tea, and it's to relieve my throat so I don't lose my voice. Okay, so Yah has already showed us his strong hand, his outstretched hand, his power, his ability to handle anything that was coming down the pike. He did that through releasing us from Egypt. And not just the coming out of Egypt, not just the plagues, but bringing us all the way through and through the battles, through the drought, through the where people would think they were starving, because he brought them to a point of starvation where they felt so hungry, right? All to test them, to try them. And we've gone through some stuff here today. I mean, this in today's time, we've gone through some of the same things, right? So he went through this, and he did it in such a way that everyone knew that it was the hand of Yah. When they came into certain locations, and they knew that these Hebrews were the Hebrews of the God in the Bible, they fled. They were running. They were like, wait a minute. That's the same, because the reputation went before them. They feared, even the heathen feared our God, knowing that he's done with them what no other God is able to do. Everybody was fearing him. They were fearing him because of fear, because they're going to lose their life. Right? So even but the problem was with the Hebrews, we not only saw it, felt it, tasted it, it was tangible, it was part of us. We saw the cloud in the sky, we saw the quail, we saw the manna, we saw him bring water out of the rock when it was in a dry land. We saw all this, right? But yet, we remembered what we saw with our eyes as opposed to what we see in our spirit. So we saw in Egypt they had false gods, so we had to erect false gods. We saw that, and we continued to drift. It was just not Noah's wife who looked back. The Hebrew Israelites looked back. They had come out, but yet they were like, when I was back there. Anybody used to party in the club? You don't anymore? Anybody have flashbacks? Still thinking like, oh man, I remember that. There was a club in my neighborhood called the Mark IV. And everybody went to the Mark IV. Now, if I showed you where the Mark IV was, you'd be like, what was the big thing about that particular spot. It was on the radio, the night, it was the place to go. It really is like, I gotta show you a picture of it. It was anything but the place to go. But we went because, and then Mark IV shut down, right? But how many of us still have Mark IV mindsets? Like, I want to go back to that club. First of all, if I went to the club today, I can't dance like I used to dance. So I would be out of place. This is old guy up in here. So, a lot of Hebrews had a mindset of looking back, and they brought that mess with them. Pick it up.
But the house of Yisra'el rebelled against me in the wilderness.
Where are we at? Verse 12, right?
Oh, excuse me. Moreover, I also gave them my Shabbat to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am Yahweh that sanctified. But the house of Yisrael rebelled against me in the wilderness. They walked not in my statutes, and they despise my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. My Shabbat they greatly polluted. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them in the wilderness to consume them.
Before you go any further, what does that mean? Somebody help me. My Shabbat they greatly polluted.
They did everything on that day but keep it holy.
They made it like another day.
They made it like another day.
Yes.
It's supposed to be holy, set apart, and used for a particular reason, and they just said, it's just another day. When it's supposed to be a holy day. All right, Mark.
But I wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen, in whose sight I brought them out. Yet also I lifted up my hand unto them in the wilderness, that I would not bring them into the land which I had given them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands, because they despised my judgments, and walked not in my statutes, but polluted my Shabbat, for their heart went after their idols. Nevertheless, my eye spared them from destroying them, neither did I make an end of them in the wilderness, but I said unto their children in the wilderness, walk ye not in the statutes of your fathers, neither observe their judgments, nor defile yourselves with their idols. I am Yahweh, Yechezk'el. Walk in my statutes, and guard my judgments, and do them, and hallow my Shabbat, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that you may know that I am Yahweh Yechezk'el.
Now here is, we're under grace. Because these people, this was talking about a lot of this activity was in the wilderness. You just saw the Dead Sea split. You just saw an army die. And you still just like refuse to be obedient. And what Yah sees and what we see are two different things. We just see it as it's another day. Yah says, this is our sign to show people, to lead people back to me. So not only are you upsetting me and our relationship, you're stopping other people from coming to me. When we're supposed to be, what did we say earlier? We're supposed to be the priests. We're supposed to be the ones leading people back to Him. We can't lead them back if we're not walking right. You know, the doors of the church are opening, and who wants to come down the aisle, right? Mm-hmm. That's it's perverted. It's a perversion. Okay, so He's already showing us how to get things right. And He said, you know what, for my name's sake, because I brought you out. because I have my name attached to you, I'm going to give you grace and mercy. So a lot of the things that are happening right now in Christendom is they are under a certain period of grace because God is being gracious, but his patience is literally running out. Go ahead, Mark.
What was I? 21, thank you. Notwithstanding, the children rebelled against me. They walked not in my statutes, neither guarded my judgments to do them. Which if a man do, he shall even live in them. They polluted my Shabbat. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the wilderness. Nevertheless, I withdrew my hand and wrought for my sake, for my name's sake.
That's what I was just saying. For my name's sake. Only because I did this. If you have a child and your child does something really bad, you're like, I am going to, wait till we get home, right? I tell you, do it again and I'm taking your car. You start snatching things away, right? But then when you get home, you're like, that is my namesake. And you kind of, okay, so you give a little bit of a punishment, but you don't give them all the punishment because that's still my baby, still my daughter, still my son. So you show a certain amount of mercy and grace, right? When if you had taken the car and taken it to the junkyard and told them to smash it up and throw it away, you would have been within your rights. But you showed a certain amount of grace and mercy towards that person. Go ahead.
Nevertheless, I withdrew my hand and wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted in the sight of the heathen, in whose sight I brought them forth. I lifted up my hand unto them also in the wilderness, that I would scatter them among the heathen and disperse them through the countries, because they had not executed my judgments, but had despised my statutes and had polluted my Sabbath, and their eyes were after their father's idols.
Okay, so we're going to finish it up, but I just have to bring this out. He says, because of you being disobedient, I will spread you amongst the heathen. Read that again.
Right. Because they had not executed my judgments,
Because they have not executed my judgments,
but had despised my statutes,
but have despised my statutes, all statutes and commandments,
and have polluted my Sabbath,
and polluted my Sabbath,
and their eyes were after their father's idols.
and their eyes are after these idols.
Wherefore I gave them also statutes that were not good, and judgments whereby they should not live.
I'll make it so difficult for you. Let's see if you can live through this. Go ahead.
And I polluted them in their own gifts, and that they caused to pass through the fire all that opens the womb, that I might make them desolate, to the end that they may know that I am Yahweh. Therefore, son of Adam, speak unto the house of Yisra'el, and say unto them, thus says Adonai Yahweh, yet in this your fathers have blasphemed me, in that they have committed a transgression against me. For when I have brought them into the land, for the which I lifted up my hand to give it to them, then they saw every high hill and all the thick trees, and they offered their sacrifices, and there they presented the provocation of their offering. There also they made their sweet savor and poured out their drink offerings. Then I said unto them, what is the high place whereunto you go? And the name thereof is called Bama unto this day. Wherefore say unto the house of Yisra'el, thus says Adonai Yahweh, are you polluted after the manner of your fathers, and commit you whoredom after their abominations? For when you offer your gifts, when you make your sons to pass through the fire, you pollute yourselves with all your idols, even unto this day. And shall I be inquired of by you, O house of Yisrael? As I live, says Adonai Yahweh, I will not be inquired of by you. And that which comes into your mind shall not be at all that ye say, we will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries to serve wood and stone.
And that's where we are today.
Okay?
No, we're
You said 45, right?
yeah,
340, no, I mean 345.
44. But
No, the time.
I mean the time.
45, yeah.
We need to
Get
go.
a minute out of it.
It's 41.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm sorry.
They won't let me stop. They like hearing them read. Go ahead, read.
And that which comes into your mind shall not be at all that you say, we will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries to serve wood and stone.
Just like the heathens. We good, right? There's no more church.
As
I mean, good. There's no more Israel.
Right.
We all the same.
As
That's why we in the situation now, because we can't figure out where the church is and who are the righteous people and who not the righteous people, because everybody's saying.
Right.
What happened to sanctification and separating apart, staying separated? Where is that? We all the same.
We are the world.
We are all the world.
No.
We are the children. Right? We all the same.
Yeah.
And then when you read the book, you find it's hard for you to figure out who are the people in the book. Because the people in the book, us,
We want to be like everybody
well,
else.
say it, what?
We want to be like everybody else.
We want to be like Mike. We want to be like everybody else. We don't be. I want to be like him. I want to be like him. Everybody, there's no one saying we need to be separate. Come out from amongst them and be ye separate. Go, Mark.
As I live, says Yah, Adonai Yahweh, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out, I will rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm.
The same mighty hand that pulled us out of Egypt is going to pull us out again with an outstretched hand, a mighty hand. He's going to, yeah. He's going to revive us. I'm feeling something there, right? He's going to pull us back and bring us back to the Holy Land. Go.
And with fury poured out, and I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Mitzrayim, so will I plead with you, says Adonai Yahweh. And I will
He's cyclical. The same thing he did to the people in Israel, right? When they were doing wrong, he said, he pleaded with them. Come on, get right.
Yep.
He gave them a chance. He's giving you a chance now. He's giving you a chance now. Look at the book and call and cry out to him. Go.
And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. And I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against you. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Yisra'el, and you shall know that I am Yahweh. As for you, O house of Yisra'el, thus says Adonai Yahweh, go ye, serve ye every one his idols, and hereafter also, if you will not hearken unto me, but pollute my holy name, no more with your gifts and with your idols. For in my holy mountain, in the mountain of the height of Yisra'el, says Adonai Yahweh, there shall all the house of Yisra'el, all of them in the land, serve me. There will I accept them, and there will I require your offerings, and the first fruit of your oblations, with all your holy things. I will accept you with your sweet savor when I bring you out from the people and gather you out of the countries wherein you have been scattered, and I will be sanctified in you before the heathen. Keep going?
No, you don't.
Okay.
So he will gather us back. But in this, what Mark just read, he's like, you know what? Go ahead. Do it. Do your thing. You go ahead and worship your false idol. You go ahead and offer up to me gifts. It's not going to be accepted. He says it right there in the book. Read the book. This is the problem with a lot of us nowadays. We only want to read New Testament. we don't want to read the whole book. So if you only read the New Testament, where does it start? Let me show you. Then I'm going, all right? I'm going to show you what the problem is. We gotta go, but I just want to show you this one thing. This is good. You can see this? We'll do it sideways. This is the New Testament. But you say you follow Jesus. Jesus did not follow things that are written in here. He didn't follow this part. He followed this part. You get me? So this is the book. This is the New Testament. And you say you follow him, then you will follow his pattern. His pattern came from this.
Hallelujah.
That's more than 2/3 of the book. So how do you follow someone if his instructions are not being looked at?
Yes.
And these were the instructions.
Yes.
These were the law, statutes, and commandments. And he says, if you love me, you'll keep my law, statutes, and commandments. 1 John, the 2nd chapter, says these laws, statutes, and commandments work for him.
Yes.
And they'll work for you. And over again, it says that if you love me, keep my commandments. Over and over again, when you see the law, statutes, and commandments in the Old Testament, it says, those that keep the law, statutes, and commandments shall live. Hallelujah.
All right.
And I